And that night we'd been in a dirty holding position for quite some time, and I'd say not much further than a mile away the enemy line was. A minefield was in front of us, and a single line, a white line driven to something on the desert was the beginning of the minefield. And when you got through the minefield, there was two white lines close together, and that was through the minefield. We had little stones that we could follow, and we got through the minefield. Then funny, you hear bullets, some had been hit, and they hit the ground. And I looked back, and I had got the three there running in behind me a little bit, all in a bunch, and I thought, oh, it should never be in groups. Spread it. They are three in a group, and that's where a shell came in or something. It could have been a mortar, but next thing I go out over tip in the air, and the shell bursting behind me and all flashing. Bill Preston was one of the three that I had just written the letter for about an hour before or 2 hours before, and that was the end of him. But his letter was on the way back to New Zealand then, and I thought, damn it all, within 2 hours after this letter that I had written for him, for his parents, he was dead. 3rd of September, I think, 1942. And I was in the 18th Battalion then. It was soon after that that when the scrap was going on, that I got what to me was a jolly sun that burst in my face, and terrific light, and I hit the ground, and I could feel blood in the around my mouth and taste blood, and that, and I lay on the ground, and I thought, I'm blinded. I can't see, and I lay on the ground, and I thought, I can't see. And we were right in the enemy lines then, right among them. And when the yellow flare goes up, we had to head back to the minefield, prisoners, if we've got any or hope to have. And luckily, after what seemed an eternity to me, my eyesight gradually came back. I found I was able to see again. And I got up, and it was around about then, and I could see figures in the semi-darkness here and there, and I watched very carefully my position going in and follow the stars, and I thought I got to follow these stars back, and I hit double white line, and I thought, now we must be very close to where our section went in, but luckily I found out looking for this little group of stones, and I see them, and I followed my way from there to the next little group of stones, and I got through, and I thought, now the section I'm in would be, my section should be so-and-so, and I walked over there and dashed all there with my study just as I'd left it. But then the reactions happened in again after that. Nerves gave out, and I just couldn't do anything other than, I suppose I couldn't even walk.
You were that?
I wouldn't say scared, but the nerves were gone and couldn't stop your legs for dancing. And I think anyone that was not affected like that could pick it straight away. And I think they'd soon know whether you're putting it on or not. One day I got called in by the colonel. I didn't know much about him. I was in one company, A company, and I got called in by the colonel. Dan, they tell me you do a lot of sketching. I said, it's a hobby of mine. I like sketching very much. Next day I get called into battalion again. Have you got any sketching that you've done here? And I said, oh, I've got a few back in one company. I'd like you to go back and get them. I'd like to have a look at them.
Yeah.
Now I took them back and he had a look at them and quite interested. He showed me a little sketch, but to me it was a little postcard. And he said, you do a big enlargement of that, very exact, very good printing? So big, very exact. Whistled up someone, taken into Div headquarters, get everything you want, paper, report so and so, you'll get everything you want. Come back here with it, there's an empty tent here, go in there and do this. And I said, we're just going out on the route march there. He said, no you're not, you're going to Div. I come back and I got this better than a route march. And I did this pretty exact. He said, I want very, very good printing. He said, lecturing officers on. I looked at this and I thought, that's funny. That's just off the Mediterranean coast here. That's very close to Italy. And it's the island of Sicily, still in German hands, not Italian hands. And Italy still in German hands. He looked at me and looked at me. Can you keep a very still mouth, something like that? And I said, yes. And he said, no one is to know what you've done, what's been going on in here. So I did that, and next thing I find I'm in intelligence. Yes, a wonderful understanding between men, and even now the terrific comradeship be men that went through action and those that didn't. And I noticed that very much so. Might have been 6 months after I was back here in Feilding one day, and I had a great cover of country here, and I knew him before the war, and we were together after the war. And then a young fellow, he was too young to have gone to the war, but I was with him, and I met this chap that I was telling you about. We were great friends before the war, and he greeted me with something about the dirty little so-and-so. This other fellow said to me afterwards, he said, I don't know why you didn't smack him in the face when he called you that. I looked at him, I said, that was a word of endearment. And it was a comradeship we had between yourselves. It was